The purpose of this video is to highlight for staff important district policies. The video will also provide information on where to find the actual policies in case staff are looking for specifics. Where are the Bloomington policies located? Well, if you click on this link, we go to the website, go to the magnifying glass, and type in policies. As you can see, I've done this a few times. Hit search, and at the very top is policies and regulations. You click on that and scroll down, and there they all are. So if you're looking for staff and student relationships, you hit this PDF, and there is the actual policy and its specifics. The areas that we're going to talk about are personnel, which is in the 400s, students, which is 500s, education program in the 600s, and non-instructional operations 700s. The first policy we're going to talk about is the 406 public and private personnel data. It's important to know what is public personnel data and what is private. The policy lists the different types, so it's important we know that. 413, harassment and violence. Student to student, staff to student, and staff to staff. It discusses about if we get to the point of hurting others, and if that happens, the district will investigate. Policy 414, mandated reporting of a child neglect or physical or sexual abuse. It's the law. We need to report, and we may be subject to criminal penalties or termination of employment if we don't. The report needs to be done as soon as possible, but in no event longer than 24 hours. And that we must report if occurred within the preceding 3 years. Policy 415, mandated reporting of a suspected maltreatment of vulnerable adults. A mandated reporter immediately reports to Minnesota Adult Abuse Reporting Center, Bloomington Police Department, or the county sheriff. 417, chemical use and abuse. Schools are instruct students about dangers of chemical abuse. Staff must report student use, and HR will investigate any staff usage. Policy 418, drug-free workplace, drug-free school. Prohibited use before, during, and after school by students and staff. Permission granted for controlled substance, and if it interferes with learning. Policy 419, tobacco-free schools. There's no smoking or chewing on school premises, and it's subject to discipline. So if people are smoking, you need to be in your car off school property. Policy 423, student-staff relationships. Keep in mind what is appropriate, use good judgment, and be professional. If you're not sure, dig into that policy for the specifics. 457, respectful and professional workplace. All staff should be treated with respect and professionalism. Work out among selves, but if you can't, report to the supervisor. And supervisor works with HR to resolve. In the case of harassment, a supervisor must report to HR. So if a staff member comes to the administrator and it's a harassment case, it automatically goes to human resources. And there's no I don't want it to. It's the policy that the administrator needs to go to HR immediately. Policy 501, weapons. No weapons on school grounds. Student suspension or expulsion. Staff employment could be terminated, subject to discipline or criminal charges. 403, student attendance. The responsibilities of the students, parent or guardian, staff, and the principal. We're already doing a lot of it, but please look over the specifics of this so you know exactly what you will need to do to do your part. 506, student discipline. Follow school rules, subject to school consequences, and we want to maintain a safe and orderly environment. 504, bullying prevention. Verbal, physical, or written act. It's threatening, it's often repeated, and report to administration immediately if it's happening so we can deal with it. 522, student sex non-discrimination. Equal education opportunity. Staff must report to administration if this is taking place. 424, technology guidelines. This is used for education purposes, the technology is. Any electronic use in public is public record. Inappropriate use by students may be subject to suspension or expulsion. Inappropriate use by staff may be subject to discipline and or termination. 426, hazing prohibition. The act of coercing student or staff into doing something for initiation into a club or organization. Staff must report to administration. It applies on and off school property. 529, staff notification of violent behavior by students. Staff have the right to know about students with a history of violent behavior so that they can make sure they're prepared. But only staff who work with a student or have a legitimate education interest are privy to this information. 545, student rights. It's privacy information. It talks about enrollment in the district and then access to a safe and secure learning environment. 606.1, procedures of handling question materials, controversial issues, and curriculum instruction. This is to provide direction in handling question materials and controversial issues in schools. So it's like books in the library and things like that. So this is the policy that we would look at to find specific guidance. 707, transportation would be bus ridership is a privilege. Bus rules must be followed. Rules are the same on the bus stop, and rules will be sent home to families. And finally, if you have any questions, please contact your building administration. Thank you and have a great school year.